Let me set the stage with complete honesty. I have two intentions for our time together. The first is simple: to hand you the clearest, most powerful way you've ever seen or heard about how to work with Feng Shui for your home. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly what real Feng Shui looks like, so that finally you can start doing it the right way, so that you can start swimming with the current of the Feng Shui current of the year and not against it. The second, yes, I do have something to invite you to at the end, but here's my promise. If I don't deliver on the first intention, if you don't feel like this was the most eye-opening, grounded, and genuinely useful Feng Shui clarity that you've ever heard of, then please don't even consider my offer at the end. But if what I share resonates with you deeply, if you find yourself thinking, this isn't just theory, this is clarity I can finally trust, then I simply ask that you give serious consideration to my invitation at the end. Let me put my cards on the table. Most of you are here, you've already tried Feng Shui. Maybe you picked up a book at the bookstore. Maybe you binge read a few articles online. Maybe you've even dove into those rabbit hole forums where everyone has an opinion. The more you read, the more tangled it gets. One person swears by crystals, another insists in wind chimes, and someone else tells you just to put some Chinese-looking tchotchkes and you're good. If this Feng Shui stuff is really that simple, and if they really worked, wouldn't we all be rich, healthy, and in love right now? That's not you being cynical. That's you being honest. And honestly, most of what's out there isn't Feng Shui at all. It's what I call fast food Feng Shui. It's quick, it's greasy, it's one size fits all. Zero nourishment. No wonder you're left wasting time, money, and energy on remedies that don't fit your home or your life. Meanwhile, the reality: you're still putting out fires in your career, in your health, in your relationships. It's exhausting. And even when you do try something, there's this constant worry whispering at you. Am I doing it right? What if people think I'm ridiculous? Do I really need to turn my house into those cliched homes full of red tassels and jade frogs just to prove I'm practicing Feng Shui? And the quietest, heaviest thought of all: if I can't learn Feng Shui from a book, maybe I should just give up. Maybe there's no real answer for me. But let me tell you the truth. The problem isn't you. The problem is that no book, no cookie cutter blog, no recycled forum tip can ever teach you how to align your home with your layout, with your energy blueprint. Because if all Feng Shui really worked straight out of a one-size-fits-all manual, everyone would already be thriving. Your home holds its own key to wealth, health, and harmony. And by the end of our time together here today, you'll start to see exactly what real Feng Shui looks like. Imagine this instead: feeling absolute confidence that the adjustments you make are the right ones for your home, your unique home. Imagine opportunities starting to flow to you naturally, like the river or qi that finally runs in your favor. Your home shifting from a burden you're always trying to fix, right? Emergency repairs, this needs repairing, that needs repairing, a money pit, some of us have been there, and turning that into the sanctuary it has always meant to be. That's what's possible. And before we're done here today, you'll know why the things you've tried before didn't work and what to do instead, so you can finally experience the peace, the vitality, the relationships, and the abundance you've been reaching for. You may have even spent money on trinkets or hired a consultant you weren't even sure was legit, only to end up more confused than before. And honestly, that's because most of what's out there isn't real Feng Shui. It's what I call fast food Feng Shui. It's quick, it's one-size-fits-all tips designed to feel good in the moment but with no lasting nourishment. No wonder it feels scary to try again. The problem isn't you trying to apply Feng Shui. The problem is the certainty that these cookie-cutter approaches will leave you hungry for real results. And I get it. Because of all the contradictory information and the fear of wasting more time, money, and energy, it feels even more complicated to move forward with confidence. Even if you declutter, or shift a few things and feel a little energetic lift. How do you turn that into lasting prosperity, harmony, and vitality? These are the challenges I know you're dealing with, which is why when you see the approach I have for you today, you'll say, okay, now I see how this time will be different. Because this isn't another fast food fix. This is a gourmet meal. It's customized to your home, your layout, and the unique energies of this year. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to start feeding your life with the kind of real, lasting qi nourishment, qi from real Feng Shui. I know this because I've spent over 15 years as a classical Feng Shui consultant, trained in a respected lineage, working with thousands of clients and students all over the world. I've seen firsthand why the fast food version never lasts and why the gourmet approach changes everything. Which is why today, when you see this new approach, you feel that sense of relief that finally, this time it will be different, because today is a fresh start with new hope and the real possibility of making your home feel like a sanctuary that supports every part of your life. When it comes to the truth about Feng Shui and how to actually make it work for you, these are the questions you should be asking yourself. How simple would it feel to finally apply Feng Shui in a way that gives you total confidence that this is the keyword, these are the keywords, that it's right for your home, it's right for your layout, and it's right for your life? What's the best way to align your space with prosperity, especially when the world outside right now feels so uncertain? What should you realistically expect when you use classical Flying Star Feng Shui the way it was meant to be practiced, not watered down into Pinterest tips? How quickly could you go from second-guessing yourself to feeling certain your home is actively supporting your financial stability, your relationships, and your physical vitality? And how much more effort would it really take to finally know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you're doing Feng Shui correctly? I have the answers, and better answers that you'll find anywhere else. Now let me ask you this. What if every time you applied Feng Shui, not only did you feel more financially secure in the middle of this chaos that the world is in the middle of right now, but you also feel calmer, healthier, and more connected in your own space? That's not just possible, that's inevitable when you do it right. Opportunity starts to flow back to you again. And you don't even need to declutter your home or clutter your home with gaudy trinkets or follow confusing cookie cutter advice out there. Because I know what it feels like to want this so badly. It aches. When I first started this journey, I was working retail, minimum wage, exhausted, and I just had my baby. All I wanted was to give her the best. In that moment, for me, it was to give her organic formula. But it was expensive. I mean, regular formula was expensive enough. To get it an organic one, that's like, whew, it's a lot. And I remember standing in my tiny kitchen, watering down her formula just to make it stretch further. I told myself right then, I need to do better. I need to do better. That's when I dove deeper into the world of real Feng Shui, when that opportunity opened itself up for me. Not the watered down fast food version, not the Pinterest tips or the cookie cutter chaos, but the authentic classical Feng Shui that actually transforms lives. That was my turning point. And today, that could be your turning point, because your why combined with the what and the how I'm about to show you is where miracles can happen. And here's something I want you to know, because it matters. I'm not teaching you Pinterest Feng Shui, and I'm not pulling random tips from blogs. I am a classically trained practitioner in the Tanyang Wu School of Feng Shui, a lineage that goes back generations. You see, real Feng Shui is preserved through masters and disciples, passed down with precision, not watered down information. I am a 5th generation disciple of Grandmaster Tanyang Wu, whose teachings have influenced some of the most respected masters in the Feng Shui field. My own teacher, Grandmaster Francis Liao, trained directly under Grandmaster Sui Peng, who was a direct disciple of Grandmaster Tanyang Wu himself. I know these are a lot of names that I'm throwing out at you, but they're grandmasters with lineage that goes back hundreds and thousands of years. And that means what I bring you today isn't guesswork. It's not trendy shortcuts. It's the authentic lineage-based Feng Shui that has been practiced since the imperial days. And now it can be adapted to your home without needing to become a Feng Shui master yourself. So when I show you exactly how to apply annual Feng Shui safely and effectively, you can trust it's coming from a line of wisdom that has stood the test of time. While so many so-called Feng Shui experts proudly post about certificates from fake Feng Shui schools, only to quietly email me that they can't get results for their clients, much less for themselves, I've been blessed to actually deliver real, measurable results across hundreds and thousands of homes and students worldwide. I know the exhaustion and the frustration of going down that Feng Shui online rabbit hole. Clicking through blog after blog, YouTube video after YouTube video, forum after forum, only to feel more confused than when you first started. Isn't it true that the deeper you go, the more it feels like you're digging yourself into a grave of contradictions? One source tells you to put your bed here, another says it's bad luck there, one book swears by crystals in the corner, another warns you against it, all the while you're thinking, how can something that's supposed to bring harmony create this much chaos in my head? And maybe you've gone even further. Maybe you've invested in a consultant thinking this time I'll get it right. But here's the reality. Just because someone is trained doesn't mean they're properly trained. And if you're taking a course with them, it doesn't mean they're a natural teacher. If they can't translate the complexity into something you can actually use, what happens? You end up staring at reports, diagrams, charts, still not knowing where to begin. Feels familiar, doesn't it? Because some of you have come to me with that problem. That's why again and again, my students tell me the same thing. Safrina, you took something I thought was impossible to learn and you made it simple. Because here's the truth. Real Feng Shui is complex, you guys. It's really, really, really complex. It's so many layers to look at before you even figure out what to place and where. It's not the cookie cutter money corner advice you find online. It's an ancient system refined over centuries, preserved through lineages like my grandmaster's lineage, that is traced back into imperial China. And when something that has lasted this long, when emperors and dynasties used it to govern prosperity, health, and power, isn't it true it must have worked? Right? So the question becomes, if Feng Shui has worked for thousands of years, why isn't it working for you? What are you missing? That's the question that keeps people awake at night, people who are reading into Feng Shui. It keeps them up at night because they know there's something here. They feel it in their gut. They can sense this is the key that could shift their life, their family's life. If only they can figure out what they're doing wrong. And that's where the paradigm shift lies, because the problem isn't you. You're not failing Feng Shui. What's failing you are the watered down teachings, the one-size-fits-all shortcuts, and the overwhelming noise that makes you second guess yourself at every step. It feels better when you realize that, doesn't it? Because now you can stop blaming yourself and you can start seeing that the missing piece isn't effort or belief or luck. It's simply accuracy and clarity. When you have a teacher who can take the vast, intricate system and break it down into steps you can actually follow, suddenly Feng Shui feels less like a gamble. It stops feeling like trial and error, and it starts feeling like what it truly is, a tested, proven system designed to align your home with prosperity, harmony, and vitality. What I feel most proud of is helping you finally feel confident that you're doing Feng Shui correctly for your unique home and seeing your entire family thrive because the energy of your space is working for them, not against them. And that's what you really want, right? Not more not more tips, not more trinkets, not more confusion. You want your home to feel like it's on your side. You want to wake up in a space that supports you, your work, your health, your relationships, your children. So let's be clear. This is why what I'm about to teach you matters. This is why you're here today and you're still with me so many minutes into this video, because you finally realize that in order for you to get it right, in order for you to stop digging deeper into that rabbit hole, you need to start applying real battle-tested method. And once you start doing that, life starts to shift. And you'll back at this moment and realize this is where it all began. Here are the things that you need to get right in order to finally start seeing real result. the first step, the first piece of information is to identify your home's feng shui period. This is the very first thing you need to know. Most people don't even realize this exists, yet it's one of the two essential data points you must have. And here's why. Every home has a permanent energetic blueprint. And these energetic blueprints are calculated by first knowing your feng shui period and then knowing your feng shui facing. And from these two pieces of information, it gives birth into 144 permanent energetic blueprints, 144 feng shui charts. If you don't know which one belongs to your home, you're already working blind. Now, most schools will tell you to use the building construction year, but in my Grandmaster's lineage and in our hundreds of case studies, and even in my own case studies that I do with my students and my clients, we do something differently. We use your move-in date, not the builder, not the construction date, not the previous tenant's date, you. That's the moment the energy locks in. And if you skip this step, or if you get this step wrong, then part of that calculation is already off. Now, why is it important for you to identify your home's feng shui period? Without knowing your home's feng shui period, you're basically guessing which of the 144 permanent energy charts that you should be working with. Guessing wrong means every placement that you make in your house will be off. The feng shui period locks in your home's permanent energy the moment you move in. Getting this wrong is like trying to use someone else's medical chart for your diagnosis. You'll never get the right prescription. And if you skip this step, you waste money year after year on placements that could even backfire. This is the foundation, and without it, the rest of your feng shui is built on sand. And this step is about pinpointing exactly which of the 9 feng shui periods your home belongs to. Each period contains 16 possible star charts, which creates 144 possible permanent energy maps. The second piece of information that you need, step 2, is determine the true feng shui facing of your home. Once you know your home's period and then you get the feng shui direction, this is where you can start figuring out your permanent energetic blueprint. And this is where most schools get it wrong. They'll say, just use the front door as your feng shui facing. But the truth, it does work the majority of the time, but there is a small fraction of homes where their feng shui facing is not their front door. And if you get this wrong, if you try to figure this out yourself, it leads to the wrong chart entirely. In authentic feng shui, we use a proper compass to measure the exact facing because there are 24 possible directions. And if you're using the wrong one of these 24, you are opening yourself to misaligning the entire home. And this is a non-negotiable. Once you know your feng shui period, you've won half the battle. You'll know which of the 144 charts applies to you. From the 144 charts, now you're down to 16 charts. And from the 16 charts, now you're down to 1 chart once you know you're facing. So how do you get a compass reading? You need to use a proper compass, not a phone app. You need to be really, really accurate with this because you don't want to be using the wrong 24 mountain chart. Now, step 3, demarcate your layout the right way. Most people are taught to slap on a 3x3 grid or a pie chart over their home. This oversimplification distorts the chart and misplaces the stars. If you do this wrong, you'll activate the wrong sectors with 0 or even negative results. In my Grandmaster's lineage, we use compartmentalizing the stars. This adapts to the real walls and the layout of your home. And it works even in awkward or unusual floor plans. And usually when you follow the 3x3 grid or even the pie chart grid, sometimes you get missing corners. It happens in my lineage as well, but in much less, it's much less of an occurrence once you apply the compartmentalizing the stars as your demarcation method. Sometimes I do layer in the pie chart as a secondary tool for precision, but never as the main tool. So think of it as tailoring a suit. Ready-made, small, medium, large will never fit right, but a tailored fit transforms everything. Now, what you do is you print or sketch your floor plan. If you're sketching your floor plan, you do want it to be as much to scale as possible. Once you demarcate your layout correctly, you'll finally see exactly where each star lands in your home. This is when the feng shui stops being a theory and becomes real, visible, and personal to your home. Commit to doing it right because this is where your clarity begins. And once you've done demarcating your layout, now it's step 4, which is to layer the annual energies and apply customized placements. This is where the magic happens. This is when I make recommendations for placements and usage in each sector of your home. And here's another paradigm shift. What works beautifully in one house could actually cause harm in another, because there is no universal money corner. There's no universal relationship corner. There's no universal fame and acknowledgement corner. That myth collapses here. This is where you get real feng shui. Customized placements based on your home. Permanent energies set the foundation, but annual energies, for one, give you faster results, but it also show how each year will affect you. If you don't layer them correctly, you'll either miss opportunities or trigger avoidable problems. So for instance, most money corner tips ignore this step completely, which is why they fail. So remember, we have your permanent chart, which is steps 1 to 3, right? The permanent chart is by getting your, what is it? Your feng shui period, your feng shui facing, and then demarcated your layout, right? Now you overlay the annual energies on top of that. And remember, what's good for one home might be bad for another, because there's no universal placement. Once this is done, your placements are no longer generic. It's unique to your home, your layout, and this year's energy. That's when you start to see real changes. When you commit, when I show you how to layer the annual charts, you'll apply it, because this is the difference between facile feng shui that never works and real feng shui that can change lives. Now, I don't want to just tell you about this process. I want to show you what it looks like when it's applied. You're going to see inside my actual recommendations for Feng Shui 2025. Because when you see how I created these recommendations for 2025, how I layered the permanent chart with the annual charts, how I made adjustments unique to each Feng Shui period and each Feng Shui facing, the 2 elements that we spoke of earlier, you'll immediately understand how my approach is different from the one-size-fits-all annual Feng Shui out there. This way, you're not just going to hear me explain why generic feng shui fails. You actually see how a real lineage-based system works in practice. So let's compare the usual generic annual feng shui advice that you get out there versus how I do my annual feng shui recommendations. Keep in mind, this is the same process I'll be guiding you through for the upcoming year if you choose to take that next step in the journey with me. The only difference is when you join me in getting your house feng shui ready for the new year, you'll get the live support and the updated annual feng shui placements that matter right now. Okay, so here is an example of a Flying Star annual placement recommendation that you find online, right? They talk about the Flying Star of the year, and I'm just going to scroll down as an example here. For instance, it says for 2025, the East is energized by the number 9 current prosperity, which is correct. It is auspicious. And if you scroll down this article here, it's going to tell you, oh, you have to put the treasure chest with double dragon, the winning streak, sure wins cure. Like you have to use all these things, which actually is not true. I'm sorry to say, this is a cash grab. These things do not work. And why do I say that? Is because I actually before I was classically trained into the lineage of Grandmaster Tan Yang Wu, I actually worked retail at a feng shui store, and it sold all these tchotchkes. But let me tell you a secret. That business, my boss's business, was actually struggling. There were so many days that there were no sales. Some days no one even came into the store. And that's when red flags were like going off in my head, because this is a feng shui store. How could this store be struggling? So it's a huge red flag that you don't need these things in order to feng shui your place to get results. And in fact, these guys do not give you results. What does give you results is not to do one-size-fits-all feng shui. It's not to feel like you have to feng shui using these tchotchkes. Now, I'm going to show you how I do my annual feng shui recommendations. And this is going to be, this is general Flying Star chart for everyone, which is the same as what you saw earlier in that article. However, the article and many other articles that you see online, they're going to give you one-size-fits-all annual placements, right? And we were looking at the East direction earlier. So for my recommendations, yes, I agree. The East is the most auspicious energy here. However, it is also no renovation here due to the 3 killings energy. Everyone can maximize this area except for the people here. Okay? Homes that are listed here, they cannot activate the auspicious energy in the East for their home. Those who are period 6, Northwest 1, period 8, northwest 1, period 9, northeast 2 or northeast 3, period 8, southwest 1. This whole list cannot activate this annual 9 energy because their permanent energy can actually trigger illness and fire accidents in the house. And I have seen this happen. And same thing, going back to this article, let's look at the Southeast. It says the Southeast is victory star number 1, which is true. And it says everyone needs to put these dragon among all men, these 3 power use the 3 wind horse amulet and put it in the Southeast. That's one size fits all tchotchke Feng Shui. How do I do it? What does my recommendation look like? My recommendation, yes, I agree that it is auspicious direction for a year of the snake. Okay? And these are the things that they can use to activate the Southeast unless they are in the do not activate list. And who are in the do not activate list? Do not activate list is here. These guys, period 6, southwest 2 or 3, or period 8, 2 or 3, like this whole list here, they cannot activate the Southeast because, again, it will be bad for their health, bad for their relationship. Okay, it can trigger a third party if they activate the Southeast and they happen to be in this list. And again, those who are here as well, they cannot activate the Southeast because if they do, based on the permanent energy of their chart, they are exposing themselves to legal trouble. So yes, these energies in the East generally is good in the Southeast, also good in the East. But there are homes of certain period and facings, as how I laid out here, they cannot activate these positive energies because of their permanent energy chart. So do you see the difference here? Do you see now why the books and the blogs and the universal money corner tricks never worked? They skipped these steps entirely. And if you don't have these pieces in place, you're just guessing. But once you do, that's when Feng Shui finally starts working for you instead of against you. So let me do a rapid fire recap. We uncovered why so much of what's out there is nothing but fast food Feng Shui, quick fixes that leave you hungrier than before. You discovered the 4 essential steps that no book or blog ever teaches you in full. Finding your true Feng Shui period, identifying your home's real facing, demarcating your layout properly, and layering in the annual energies. You saw how using your move-in date, not construction year, not previous tenants' move-in date, and that's what locks in your home's permanent energy, and why skipping this step keeps everything out of alignment. You learn that once you combine the Feng Shui period and the Feng Shui facing, you get your home's permanent energy chart. It's energetic DNA. And here's the best part. You don't need to learn how to read it. My private students pay me $2,000 to learn chart interpretation, but you don't have to. I'll do the heavy lifting for you and simply tell you what to put and where. You discovered that your layout should not be demarcated with a 3x3 grid, and why compartmentalizing the stars gives you tailored accuracy your space deserves. And you experience, even in this short time, what it feels like when confusion lifts, clarity clicks, and your home starts to feel like a sanctuary instead of a stressor. Now, I understand that those of you who want to know more, to want to learn Feng Shui deeper, you're going to have more questions now. Now that the initial questions are answered, as in, what does real Feng Shui look like? Now that that has lifted, you probably have follow-up questions like, oh, wait a minute, what do these numbers mean? And da-da-da-da-da. That is for my certification course. But for the container that we are in right now, you've already hopefully had a lot of your Feng Shui, your burning Feng Shui questions cleared up, and we've only scratched the surface. So let me ask you this. Isn't it true that clarity feels better than confusion? We've only sped through steps 1 and 2 really quickly because we don't have ours together. But hopefully this gives you clarity on the kind of one-size-fits-all Feng Shui versus real Feng Shui. Now you can start to differentiate which is which. And that's what you really want, right? Not more tips, not more universal money corners or universal relationship corners, because that has not worked a bit for you. That's the power of demonstration, and you've just experienced it for yourself. Hasn't it been eye-opening to finally see why the books, the blogs, and the so-called money corner tricks never worked? and how the real lineage-based process actually makes sense. Can you feel the relief of knowing that once your home's period and facing are identified, your annual Feng Shui placements are now crystal clear, and you don't even have to decode it yourself because I do the heavy lifting for you? Doesn't it feel good to imagine walking through your space with absolute certainty, knowing that every placement is correct, and finally feeling the peace of mind that your home has your back? And that's exactly why I'd love to show you the next step. And it's with great joy that I introduce you to the annual Feng Shui playbook. Here's the truth. I got tired of watching so-called experts pump out books and blog posts and videos filled with cookie cutter annual Feng Shui placements. Not only is that approach ineffective, it can actually be dangerous. Because just because one home can safely activate prosperity in a certain direction doesn't mean another home can. And if you don't know what you're doing, you risk stirring up negative energies that can create more harm than good. And yet, no one was offering annual guidance the way it truly needs to be done. Safe, simplified, and supported. Safe, because you'll never risk accidentally activating harmful energies. Simplified, because you don't have to be a Feng Shui master to follow along. I read the charts for you, I tell you what to place, and you go and place it. Supported, because you won't be dropped into a noisy Facebook group where everyone is arguing over fast food Feng Shui. Instead, you'll be part of my community where we're all speaking the same language, grounded in the same lineage, building clarity instead of chaos. And that's why I created the annual Feng Shui playbook. It's the resource I wish had existed when I first started, and it's the exact solution people like you have been waiting for. And here's what you'll receive when you join me inside my annual Feng Shui group. The program itself is your step-by-step guide to aligning your home with the energy of the year. Now, we're not going to deal with the permanent energy placements itself. The reason why I want to help you focus on the annual placement, the annual Feng Shui placements, like I mentioned before, is they actually give you faster results, right? If you want to do if you want to talk about permanent energetic chart, that's where the consultations come in. That's where the certification comes in. But I want to give you results. So the focus in the group is for the annual energy, but unique to the permanent energy of your home all year long. Now, this isn't theory. This isn't guesswork. It's the same process I've used with private clients and advanced students for years. And I've distilled it into a simple, repeatable system you can confidently apply, even if you've never studied Feng Shui before. And here's the best part. You don't need to learn how to read permanent charts or memorize complicated formulas. My certification students paid me $2,000 plus to master that skill. But with you being in this group, I've already done all that heavy lifting for you. All you need to do is follow the instructions, place the cures, place the activations where I guide you, and trust the system. Every recommendation is safe, so you never risk triggering harmful energies. Every instruction is simplified, so even complete beginners can follow along. And you're fully supported, not just by me, but by a private community where everyone speaks the same language. And I have members in there who have been with me in my annual Feng Shui programs for 10 plus years now. They're starting to know my language. They are starting to understand where I'm thinking, right? You have peer support, you have my support, and you have support from my associates as well. No fast food Feng Shui allowed in the group. No endless debates in Facebook groups because they're all different, following different methods. Just a circle of people moving in the same direction together. And that's what makes my annual Feng Shui program unlike any book, blog, or video you've ever seen. It's clear, it's customized, it's safe. And most importantly, it actually works. And that's why I created it. And that's what's waiting for you inside. So how valuable is all this? So think about it. A 1-hour consult with my associate is $288. A consult with me personally is $688 for just 1 hour. Other annual Feng Shui trainings, they might be cheaper, but they don't give you the personalized support you'll get here. In my group, you can actually post your layout, do a Google Earth screenshot of your home, and we'll give you feedback. And I'm in the group every day. So you get my eyes on your layout without paying me $688. You're not even paying $300. My annual Feng Shui program, your complete, safe, simplified, and supported Feng Shui plan for the entire year is just $108 one time. And here's something important. If you're watching this right now and you still see a countdown timer on this page, that means you can lock it in at the special discounted rate. But once the timer hits 0, the system automatically expires the discount and the fee goes up to $108. Look, my annual program has been tested across hundreds of charts worldwide, and I've been doing my annual Feng Shui program for more than 10 years now. It works. How do I know it works? I have people coming back over and over and over again. I have people in my group who's been with me 10 plus years. They must see results, otherwise why would they come back? Now, wouldn't it feel incredible to stop guessing and finally act with confidence? Can you see how this alone could shave weeks, even years, off of your trial and error in your Feng Shui journey? Most people will never have this timing advantage, but you will. Now, here's the fast action bonus time. If you've ever wondered, what can I do to boost my chances of success? Now that I've Feng Shuied my home, I want to start a business. I want to have a meeting with my boss and ask for a raise. I want to start a diet program. What can I do to boost my chances of success? Now, what I'm about to give you ends that forever. It's called the Auspicious Day Finder. Inside, you'll get an additional date selection mini training where I show you how to plot your auspicious dates using your astrology, plus a rare dual calendar, which is the Gregorian and the Chinese calendar, so it actually fits your real life. You'll learn how to align your most important activities with your best astrological dates. Signing contracts on your wealth days, have important conversations on relationship days, book resets on health days. Many years ago, when I was still in corporate world, I used this date selection system to get 2 job offers out of just 5 resumes that I sent out, timed on my personal wealth days. Chinese date selection has been used for thousands of years, so it's definitely a proven system. So this bonus is normally $68, but if you register before the countdown hits 0, you get it free with the annual Feng Shui playbook. Now, let me be upfront with you about how this works. This countdown timer, it's real. And when it hits 0, the discounted rate disappears and the playbook goes back up to the higher pricing. Why? Because I want to reward fast action takers. It's not about punishing anyone. It's about honoring the people who decide quickly, commit fully, and then follow through. You've probably heard the saying, successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly. That's exactly the principle here. This is your chance to step into that mindset. And it's not even in my hands. The system is automated. When the timer ends, the page switches to the higher price. So here's the reality. If you're serious about finally getting clarity and confidence with your Feng Shui this year, the smartest thing you can do is act before the countdown runs out. Because my playbook is worth every penny at $108 or even more. If you ask my students who come back year after year after year, they'll tell you it's worth every penny. But if you're seeing this before the timer hits 0, you don't have to pay that much. So this is where it all comes together. You've seen how my annual Feng Shui program gives you clarity and confidence. Finally knowing what to activate, what to avoid, and how to align your home with the energy of the year ahead. And right now, while the countdown is still running, you can claim it all for less than the cost of a single session with one of my associates. Plus, when you act before the timer ends, you'll also receive the Auspicious Day Finder bonus training completely free. This way, you'll see exactly how different my annual trainings are. You'll notice right away, it's not generic, it's not fast food Feng Shui. It's the safe, simplified, lineage-based approach that I've made accessible for thousands of households around the world for the past 14, 15 years that I've been holding this annual training. And here's something most people don't realize. The new energy of a year, it doesn't begin at midnight on New Year's Eve. It actually starts shifting as early as October or November, which means right now, this year's energy is already fading and the incoming year's energy is moving in. Hopefully, I've already illustrated to you why getting the period and facing and the demarcation wrong can put you in that risky position. So that's why the real breakthrough, the one that protects you, simplifies the process, and gives you complete confidence, comes when you step into the current year's training with my full guidance and the support of the group beside you. If you're ready to dive into how you can use this actual year's placement to help you to maximize the energy, then click on the link below and I'll see you on the inside.